Good evening. This is a meeting of the Emergency Management Team of Upper Chichester Township. At this time, I'd like our members to stand for the pledge. This is a plan update. I know we're still continuing to work on updating our plan. We did make some outreach to some colleges to see if we can get some assistance. I actually spoke to the superintendent of the VOTEC system here in Delaware County in hopes of maybe, again, getting some assistance with our group and our plan update. One of the things we're looking at accomplishing is an exercise before the end of the year. Looking at December 13th, the exercise would involve the fire department, EMS, police department, fire police, school district, hopefully, obviously the public officials as well. And we're just going to go over some scenarios. Now, I did hand out a number of scenarios, 3-step process in modules. I'd like you to review those. It deals with a flooding situation, which is the most common incident that we experience here in the township. And it goes into, as you'll see, there are a number of questions which will be part of the discussion. I put together an exercise agenda, and my thoughts are, at least for this particular exercise, it will last about 3 hours. And the first half hour would be registration and camaraderie among the participants. At 18:30, we'll begin the exercise, and we'll have a welcome and participant briefing. At 18:45, so that's 15 minutes, we'll go into module 1. And I figured at least for each module, we'll give 30 minutes. That's where I came up with the time. This is an estimate. Obviously, if discussion is ongoing, then we'll have to adapt accordingly. And after each module, there's a 10-minute break. And with that break, again, hopefully there'll be further discussion potentially, or persons who don't know other persons that are participating, that give them an opportunity to go up and meet them. And we'll go into different modules. As you can see there, Module 1 is a pre-incident. That's where we get some type of notification from the Weather Service. And it's going to be involving, obviously, severe weather in this case. Module 2 deals with the event 1 and 2 days in. And Module 3 is an event 1 and 2 weeks out. So we've been experiencing extreme weather recently in the country. Fortunately, Upper Chichester has escaped some of the incidents recently, and that's a good thing. We wish it on our neighbors. And then at about 20:40, I have about 20 minutes there for a hot wash and closing remarks of the public officials that had anything to the incident. I pulled upon this. We can deal with it regarding, I think there was a comment about tornadoes. We can do, I mean, it's a severe weather situation, but the idea is getting us all together, points of contact, some discussion. And the program itself, you can see I customized it to Upper Chichester Township. But it's based upon a Homeland Security advice. And it has questions at the end of each module discussion. And it would be good to go through those, and we all will understand what our role is and our responsibilities in a severe weather event. That's scheduled for, again, December 13th here at the Township Building. And we'll be getting out the invites. Already spoken to the fire department, to the Township manager, our team but we'll be adding the individuals here in the next time. So what I'd like to do, have you review this, look it over, get additional comment at our next meeting, so we're prepared for the exercise on December 13th. Anyone have any question on that? This is an opportunity. It's a Monday, it's a second Monday. It's just our same date, second Monday of the month. And I think it's far enough away from Christmas, close to the month, but December 13th should not interfere, hopefully, with anyone's private activities. Yes, actually on there it has the CBA for the back. Maybe not on your copy there. We'll see if we get it. You know, any of the participants that we can get that would be involved. Of course, the Business Association possibly could help us with response. I even have the Recreation Department because we may end up utilizing this facility. Some evacuation, a major evacuation. So, yeah, and that's the kind of comments we need. If you see others that should be invited, I was looking for the emergency managers of Lower Chichester, Marcushook, and Trainer. I haven't been successful at this point in identifying those. I'm sure I will be able to. I would be able to in the near future. And if so, they would be included as well.
Whether it's feeding people medications, like
I think that's the idea. Yes, if you don't mind. Thank you. That's why I want to give it time to look at this. Now, I understand the fire police are working on their own project.
other areas, Middletown, Lower Chi, even Delco, they're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing simulation of fuel spill in 322, how we would handle that. We're going to be discussing traffic flow. We have 42,000 vehicles a day. So that's a lot of vehicles per day. We close it down for 4 hours. I put all that traffic somewhere. That's going to be the stuff we're going to be discussing. We're also looking at doing a simulation of a building fire at TNT Fireworks. What we're going to need in a situation like that, it's like 28 people to shut. We're going to be working with all the other guys so they understand.
In addition, what I was asking here is utilize, even during this exercise, a brief overview of how you would handle the flooding at one of our key locations.
Sure.
I say that because if there's flooding in our area, most likely there'll be flooding in other areas, and we're not going to have the support potential. 28 for that one incident. That's what I'm looking at.
Yes.
In reference to the plan, Carl, what I like to do is pull out certain abstracts that seem to fit this, and we'll give the participants a copy of our plan with a certain section with the incident, which it could be multiple incidents, and the same thing for your fire police. Most likely, it's going to be a 911 call that's going to initiate this at some point, and have to take the proper direction from there. That's going to involve the fire department, the fire police, and the police department immediately, and if there's injuries, the emergency medical services. This is an opportunity. It's what we've been working towards, so hopefully, we'll get good participation. In reference to some of the activity that took place in September, and I thank Andrew Henderson for helping us out with posting of different items on the website and social media. I thank George Needles, our township manager, for his cooperation as well. We put out some information on tornado preparation, interestingly enough. Yet there were tornadoes in our area. Typically, we used to get no warnings, no watches. Now we're getting watches and warnings and actual tornadoes. So we put out something in September for tornado preparation. We monitored the Hurricane Ida and flash flooding. Fortunately, with Hurricane Ida and the remnants, we didn't have much of an issue. We had a few of our roads that typically flood out, but not for any extended period of time, and not to the point that we couldn't divert traffic. I have thanked, and I'll thank publicly, the Highway Department for their efforts immediately getting to those areas. The quicker we can get to those areas, the better it's going to be. So we didn't have any reports of persons trying to drive through any of these flooded areas. So that's a plus, because that's where people get hurt or worse by not turning around and thinking they can drive through these flooded areas. On that note, even though I'll discuss it in a minute on the other side, I had a meeting with the Highway Department, and Carl and I did, with regard to some planning, some pre-planning. We know where those areas are, and there are areas of concern. September was National Preparedness Month. Again, we put out some information there to the public. We went through literature. We have a number of brochures, pamphlets, and other information on emergency management. I want to thank Hal Etzel for taking that to the seniors. But if any of you need it or have any events, and that goes for your fire police or any other events that you may know about, we have plenty of literature here. They overwhelmed us with literature. More than we asked for, much more than we asked for, but we have it. And we're looking we have two other events this year. We have the Halloween event here at the township, and also the Christmas event parade. So we have other opportunities to distribute. On Community Day, we had a table, fire department. Last week was Fire Prevention Week. We were reminding individuals about checking their batteries and their smoke detectors, because there's a lot of calls, and that's the reason for the calls, is just someone not checking their batteries or replacing them. We had our table, and we discussed and gave out a number of pieces of literature. But again, we have several. So if anyone in the public actually has an event or has any interest, we can make arrangements to give you literature. We looked at least briefly the mass booster shot options at various locations in the township. That was a request of Commissioner Ed Rakowski. We didn't get any takers, or there was no other information. Yes, actually, I've spoken to Rite Aid. I offered it to the fire departments and emergency responders, and they were going to post it on Facebook for any of the critical personnel. Rite Aid would actually go to the firehouse and execute booster shots potentially for it. I needed the information, and I needed a number. So if someone could have that posted on Facebook, I thought Ray Fuller was going to do that, but I'm not sure if he understood exactly what I need is a count, because the fire department got their boosters, the second, actually, I say booster, their second shot of Pfizer. They got that at the end of January, roughly. So they're definitely well within the timeline to receive the booster. In September, of course, we discussed Community Day and what we were going to do, and I already mentioned that. So here we are on October the 11th. This meeting is being taped, and just tabletop, which is our big event forthcoming. Their old business, we may have some still out there, business contacts, updates that we were trying to accomplish. Sorry about that. Also, we want to promote Delco Alert. We did promote it at Community Day. But what I learned on Community Day, a lot of individuals are not linked to Delco Alert. It's a free service, so you can go on the website, Delaware County's website, and just look for Delco Alert. You can get either a text message, phone call, an email, or all three. Take advantage of Delco Alert. Discuss, and probably this will be now pushed into next year, on a cable TV presentation, and dealing with maybe emergency management and some guests. Look to that probably at the end of the year, first quarter. New business, I already mentioned that I had a meeting and Carl was with us. Reference to the highway department in certain areas, flooding and things that we may be able to do, like a warning system using either Delco Alert or an individual warning system. When rising water is detected, that it would actually notify individuals. And there's concern, particularly in the Belmont Drive, Arlene Drive areas, in reference to actual access. Individuals, if they got a pre-warning, should take action to make sure, because the fire department, police department, even the EMS may not be able to access their location. Under severe weather, typically when winds exceed, even before a hurricane level, your emergency services are hunkering down. They're not going to be responding. That's why we have to prepare. Now with the winter approaching probably quicker than we wish, that serious weather as it relates to winter weather. We're not linked up tonight. As I said, this was being recorded, so we don't have the ability to receive public comments. But if anyone has any comments with regard to emergency management, please contact the township. In addition, we're still seeking recruitment, and we could use individuals for various backgrounds to assist us. We have a core group, but if we would open up a shelter, we would need individuals to assist us with the shelter, maybe with assessments if there was damage to a particular area or in a township that we would have to document, things of that nature. Have access, we know, to drones. That's helpful. That's an asset to have. Our next meeting, scheduled for November 8th, and that's the second Monday of the month at 1800. What I'll do now is we'll go around the room and see if anyone has any comments. What I'll do is look for the various distributions by FEMA, and we'll put them out against the public. I would suggest to everyone out there that they review the township websites and social media sites for information. You were saying that one thing that did come to mind, and it deals with the fire department, is if you have a fire hydrant in your area. That was Dave Holland, the fire marshal's, one of his pet peeves. Where you clear it out, not just for yourself, but for your neighbors as well. Need assistance with that, I'm sure we can try to provide that in some way. Power, monitored some power outages this year, which we normally do during any major storm. And the concern there is individuals with generators, carbon monoxide, if they would have a generator. Even think it's in their garage, it still could be a hazardous situation. It needs to be ventilated properly. We need to think a little bit. So, to your point, at a time. Sure you have enough water, and response could take 24 to 48 hours. And now they're saying you should prepare at least 72 hours in advance. In other words, having materials for 72 hours. Food, and not necessarily any food that would need to be refrigerated, some staples of some type. Thanks. Rena? Good, everything's good. We appreciate your participation as always. Background. Julia? Then the fire police, and we thank the fire police. A lot of our unsung heroes, and I saw where one of our members was posthumously awarded his dad, Barry, and he was a very active member of our team. Loss for us as well as you, I understand. And Ed C was recognizing it. Anything, Tom? Carl? Anything else? Anyone have an alibi? We have Ed Cardo contacted me and Donna Tutek for the record. They weren't able to make it this evening. And they're very active. Ed helps out with the school representation, so that's an important element. He's there ready to help us. He just couldn't make it this evening. And same with Donna, very active. All right, with that, I guess we can conclude. I thank you all for coming. It's 18:21 or 6:21 p.m. And the next meeting is November 8th at 6 p.m. at the Township Building.